The final hours before the final game of the season are upon them. All that's left to do is execute the plan.
If we do that, I think we have a good shot.
Both teams are almost at full strength. Penn State's defense is ready to let out a rebel yell. The Lions earned some fun in the South. Now it's time to pull the car into the pits and put the clubs away. A date with Ole Miss is calling. Here comes Nittany Game Week. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Nittany Game Week. I'm Todd Sadowski, alongside former Nittany Lions coaches Jay Paterno and Tom Bradley. Almost time to ring in the new year before the calendar flips to 2024 already. Well, the Nittany Lions are bowling in Atlanta, so tell us about the final hours before the final game of the season. What's that like?
Well, it's at the end of the day, you've had all this time, you had, 3 weeks to get ready for a bowl game, and you're just, at that point, it's like, okay, let's play this thing and let's get on with it, and let's try not to second guess ourselves, make the players nervous, and let's just get into the game and play.
Yeah, I used to like to go down just to the meeting room and just sit there and go through a game by myself with nobody there and make the calls and just get myself ready to go, that I had to be ready for anything that might come up. But Jay's right. The one thing you do is you're going, did I cover that? What if they do this? So there's always that, because you had so much time to get ready, there's always a lot of second guessing.
Well, the Nittany Lions pack up their stuff and fly south for a Peach Bowl business trip. We highlight some of the destination fun leading up to kickoff in Atlanta. And the Pride Picks playoff is heading down the home stretch in our opening drive. So here we go, the team coming off the plane already with the game face on that I mentioned. The Nittany Lions with a chance for their 11th win of the year, more than a week before the game. What's the trip down there all about, guys? You get on the plane and you just got to get the logistics. I think you're just hoping that you got everybody that you need, right, to make things happen.
Well, we used to fly them in from home. They'd go home right after finals, and they'd all fly in. So it was just the logistics of this guy flew in from here, and this how many guys on the American Airlines flight from Philly. So it was a little different than all going on a team plane. So it was a little more complex when we did it. But that's,
You'd get going, what do you mean he's late?
Yeah.
What do you mean there's bad weather?
Snow, you name it.
It was crazy.
But you get everybody down there, and you get focused, and you have to let them have some fun, because that's part of the bowl trip. But you have to balance it and make sure that you keep an eye on, are their legs tired because they walked around Disney or someplace all day. So it's just always you got to adjust every day.
And a lot of excitement, Tom, to see the players who may be going to Florida for the first time or California for the first time or something to that effect. So I think you enjoy those relationships and seeing that.
I enjoyed the meetings because I could tell when they had fun, they did some fun stuff, but then it would quiet down real quick when I came into the room. I'm going, okay, what's going on here? And they did have fun.
That's the business trip part of it with practice as we're looking at it here. And we mentioned logistics. Coach Franklin gave a shout out to the ops team.
From the hotel to the meetings to the meals and everything, and they do a phenomenal job. We actually talked about that in our staff meeting this morning, and not taking all the organizational stuff that goes into it for granted. But yeah, our staff has been phenomenal. I mean, we're in a little bit different situation because we've had change at both the offensive and defensive coordinator positions.
A lot of moving parts to deal with for sure. Everyone involved with the football program is used to traveling to a big bowl game. Now, you guys will cover more of the details in the scouting report. Should be a fun matchup. What are some of the key questions for the Rebels versus the Nittany Lions?
Well, they like tempo. We'll talk about that in the scouting report. And for a team like Penn State that likes to substitute, and their down guys don't play whole games, because they go fast to try and keep those guys in the field and wear them out. The linebackers for Ole Miss, in terms of coverage, have not made a lot of plays in the pass game, so the tight ends could be a big factor. But those are some things and just Penn State run the clock to keep Ole Miss's offense off the field. So there's some things to look for.
One of the things you bring up the tempo, because as you know, it's hard to practice tempo. You don't have enough scout team guys sometimes, so you have to use your second team offense to get the tempo, because one's in the huddle ready to go, they get done, you're on the other side. You've got to get that going, because I believe they're going to see tempo.
Fun thing about the Peach Bowl, Tom, is that both of these teams come in with basically everybody opting in to play, and both at full strength. Even though some guys go in the NFL, That's going to make this a fun game to watch because you're going to see both teams as they were all year and both quarterbacks playing.
And I think that's the great thing because you're reading all the other teams. Oh, this guy's not showing up. This guy. So it's going to be a fun game because both teams are, you know, who's going to be there going at it.
Both quarterbacks. That's a big deal. Not every matchup can say that at this point, whether it's for injury or for transfer portal. Kyle McCord transferred out of Ohio State. So for this particular matchup, we're really excited about the guys that are coming back and playing in it. One tight end, Tyler Warren, is coming back to Happy Valley. Another, Theo Johnson, is entering the draft. Linebacker Curtis Jacobs will play in Atlanta and then go pro. This is great news for fans of both teams. Coach Franklin insists there is a way for players to accomplish all their goals and not skip the bowl games. Of course, it's important to make room, as we mentioned, for the fun at the bowl destination, sometimes even a competitive situation, whether they're go-karting or whether they're doing golfing. Penn State and Ole Miss players take part in a putting game soon after their arrival. You got everybody there. Look at that pressure you got on your teammates as you're putting, Tom. Can you make those from 5 feet, 10 feet?
Well, that's a lot of fun for the players. I get to know the other team and those guys. And you know, you become friends. Some of the guys still keep in touch with each other all these years later that they met at the bowl game.
Yeah.
Now, are they competing against Ole Miss? Or?
They're competing against Ole Miss. I hate to say the Rebels took the belt. They ended up winning this particular contest, but you know the Rebels did outputt the Nittany Lions in a 5-yard frenzy, they called it. But it could be eating competitions, games of skill or chance. It doesn't matter to the players. They just want to maximize the bowl experience.
You know, you never get this time back, so that's been my main thing. And spending time with them, talking to some teammates that I don't talk to as much. You know, we're around each other, getting to know them more and what they're into and things like that. So it's been great. Just kind of a couple of days we got get away from football, not just focusing on football, being able to get away from that and spend time with teammates. So that's been amazing to me.
And remember, they're college students. This is their time in between semesters to take a breather and enjoy whatever time they can while they are on the bowl trip. And we're having a lot of fun once again with our Prize Picks playoffs. We're down to 5 finalists with only a couple more days to cast your vote for this season's winner, and they are casting their votes.
Noon, 2nd of January, Tuesday, it ends. There's already 35,000 votes in this round, 65,000 votes cast overall. A lot of time to go, so make sure you keep voting because it's really tight. There's 2 or 3, all 3 or 4 of them that are all right there.
Someone is going to go on the Happy Valley Cruise, the winners, and Tom's on it. So that's like the ultimate, right? That's the ultimate prize. That's the ultimate carrot we're dangling right out there.
I am definitely going on the cruise.
Well, if they know he's going, they're going to go vote for the competition.
Yeah.
We'll
see.
Somebody else goes.
One way or another, you're motivating them to vote. We appreciate them going to the website. It's 4 different categories: group pictures, throwbacks, selfies, and kids, with 1 wild card pick to fill out the final 5. Go to NittanyGameWeek.com to help decide the winner. Still to come, our scouting report, the Nittany Lions defense will show the proper amount of respect for Ole Miss and the Rebels' offensive weapons, where PSU has an advantage on their SEC opponent. Coming up in our scouting report, you're watching Nittany Game Week.
Opening Drive is sponsored by your local Ford store. Visit buyfordnow.com today.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. Lane Kiffin is one of the top offensive minds in college football on a week-to-week basis. Give him almost a month to prep for an opponent, and it's going to be fascinating to see what the Rebels coach cooks up for the Nittany Lions. We've been scratching the surface on Ole Miss the past couple of weeks. It's time for a deep dive from Coach Paterno and Coach Bradley to preview the Peach.
Well, we're going to make sure we go through this quickly, like we're a tempo offense, just like we're probably going to see from Ole Miss. And we're going to start with that right off the bat, because I think one of the things you'll see out of these guys is tempo offense to try and keep Penn State's from substituting. We're going to talk about it. But let's talk about how well they've done. When you look at Ole Miss as an offense, they're 19th in the country in points, 15th in total offense, 41st in rushing, 26th in pass, and 12th in turnover margin at +9, which is really good. Let's talk about the next numbers. When you look at, this is the best offense that Penn State has seen most of the year. When you look at 19th in the country in points, 15th in total offense, and you look at the best offenses Penn State have played right now so far, not as good as Ole Miss, Tom.
No, they have not played as good as Ole Miss. But once again, this is a bowl game. So they've had a lot of time off. A lot of things happened in that time off.
Yep, and they like to push the ball down the field. 12th in the country in yards per completion, 11th in passing efficiency. 4th down attempts, they've gone for it 33 times. And total offense since Lane Kiffin got there, almost 500 yards per game across 4 seasons, 2nd in the country.
So the Lane train's rolling.
Yes, the only team better in that stretch is Ohio State. Now let's talk about what they do. We talk about they have 3 big-time wideouts, which means they can always get a really good wideout on your 3rd best cover guy. They're going to look for that. Here they're going to motion the tight end, get them to change the secondary so they can't help here. Now, what we're going to show you is how quickly this happens in tempo. So they create that matchup. Then they get a completion, and you'll see it in real time in a second. Then they come up here, and defense can't get lined up, Tom. They can't substitute. So now you're keeping these guys on the field, wearing them out, and they don't even have a chance to read their keys, and they have to play the quarterback. So let's take a look at how that happened. This is all in real time. So, Tom, here's the completion. Great throw, great catch, and now here's the confusion, right, for you as a defensive coordinator.
Here it goes because they're lining up fast. That play's coming, everybody's got it, and they're on the ball.
Yep, and to this whole thing, 2 plays takes all of 25 seconds in real time as the clock is running. So you can see the quarterback is calling out the plays. Texas A&M is standing around. They can't read their keys. Who's got the quarterback, who's got the zone read, and now they're in the end zone scoring a touchdown. And so that's going to be a thing. Now, the quarterback run game, which Penn State has not seen a lot of this year, Tom. Again, now you got to play 2 high, 2 safeties high to cover this, to help with the wideouts. Now you got to think about how do we, because with the quarterback involved in the run game, now how do we get guys down in here to help with that?
We're going to need the extra guy down. They're going to need that guy down the box. You're just going to have to guess sometimes. You're going to have to play some man free or play some straight man against them.
Yep, you see Texas A&M comes down. He reads the quarterback. They hand the ball north and south, and this guy is great with yards after contact. Now let's talk about the Ole Miss defense, what they do on defense. They are 34th in the country in points allowed. They are in total defense, 57th. Just kind of middle average type defense, but take a look at who they've played in terms of where they rank. In terms of the SEC, when you look at the offenses, Ole Miss has played better than the offenses Penn State has played. When you look at the flip side, the defenses that Penn State has played have been better than the ones Ole Miss. Now let's talk about what they do now. They want to keep 2 safeties high, and now you've got 6 guys in the box. So to get the 7th guy, not number 7, but a 7th guy involved in the run game, it's going to come from one of those safeties, Tom, and let's take a look at how they get that done.
Well, that's one of the things about them. That safety is a vital part of their defense. The way they work him down and play that game with you. Is it 7? Is it 6? That's going to be going on all game. And
they play a lot of nickel. Now, one of the areas where they're vulnerable in the secondary is their linebackers don't make a lot of plays in the pass game, which means matchups for Penn State's tight ends. The safeties are going to have to help. Georgia does a great job on this one with a quick play fake and a throw down to the wide out on the outside because the safety's got to help with the tight end here, Tom. And you know that's frustrating. If you run the ball successfully, this stuff should be there for Penn State.
Yeah, I think the tight end will play a very important part in this game, especially if you got to get your run game going and then use him.
And you're going to have to make those throws quickly because they are veteran. Now, when you get to 3rd down, this is a secondary. The top 6 guys have started 128 games in college. They've played in 253. That's 42 games per guy. So they'll be able to do a lot of things. Here they show a blitz. They get the quarterback to change the protection, and then they drop out, and all of a sudden you got a defensive end running free because they've created confusion, and they rally the ball.
And that's one of the things, when you have a secondary that knows how to communicate, has that many reps, and have been together that long, you can do a lot of interesting things.
Kind of like 3 guys that have worked together for 3 straight seasons. We now have a combined 177 starts, soon to be 180, and overtime.
It's just that we do interesting things, Todd. Yeah. Which is it?
That's a lot of numbers, a lot of numbers. You guys keep them. All right, well, rest assured the entire Penn State squad has a healthy dose of respect for the Rebels. Always fun to see the Big Ten matchup with the SEC, and both of these teams have had similar seasons, 10 wins, 2 losses against big-time opponents, Michigan and Ohio State for the Nittany Lions, Alabama and Georgia for Ole Miss.
Really good defense, really good offense. Both sides of the ball really good. But, you know, we're excited. We're in SEC territory. Coach Franklin always preaches about that. But, you know, we're ready. We're taking it one day at a time. Always had that 1% mentality. You get better every day. So, like, we're excited. We just got to get ready to play.
Doesn't matter what conference they come from. They're a very solid team on both sides of the ball. So we got to do our best and go out and execute the game plan that coaches have put together the past couple of weeks. And, you know, if we do that, I think we have a good shot.
No doubt a win over an SEC team in a New Year's Six Bowl would give the young guys like Aller and Singleton a boost. It also gives Penn State a win in every New Year's Six Bowl game. They'd be the first program to accomplish the feat. Up next, one of those, in case you missed it, impact interviews. You only hear about half of what our guests are telling us during our conversations. Find out why former All-American running back Blair Thomas is a card trick magician when we return. More Nittany Game Week after this.
Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
We're back on Nittany Game Week. Time for our Impact Interview. Every once in a while, we like to show you what you're missing on the program. And what I mean by that is our Impact Interviews last much longer than what you see just on the weekly television program. This week, here's a few questions and answers with our featured guests that give you an idea of the extended conversations you can find at NittanyGameWeek.com.
While you were a great football player, without question, you're an even better magician specializing in hundreds of card tricks. How did you get started in that, and how are you so dang good at them?
Actually, I growing up, it was a gentleman that used to come down around the neighborhood, and he was doing coin magic, and I was always, interested in magic. So I learned my first card trick when I was a freshman up at Penn State. We had that picnic out. I think it was about
Stone Valley.
One of those parks out there. We had a little picnic out there, and I learned my first card trick. And from that point on, I started reading books on, learn how to perfect some of them. And that's why when I'm doing magic tricks, the more that I shuffle, I start to remember some of the tricks. Because that's how I used to also study my playbooks while I was learning different cuts and different card tricks.
Joffe, you're known as an agent that goes beyond the business side and mentors young athletes. How rewarding is it to see your athletes have success and excellence in their personal and professional lives?
So for me, at this point, man, I've been blessed to sit in the position that I sit in, to be in a role that I'm in, because I don't necessarily just see myself as an agent per se. I think that for me, it's more about me having an impact and affecting these young men's lives outside of sports. Because I bear witness that you can't play any game forever. Everyone's sports career has an expiration date. And one of the biggest things with that is transitioning from sports into whatever's next. A lot of these guys have a really, really hard time doing so. And so when it's over and you realize that it's over, you don't have the same passion for anything else because you never really thought about it. For me, it's very important to start getting these young men to start thinking about what things they have interest in outside of sports.
I thought it was interesting to hear Chip Kelly talk about a one big conference and some other people talking about revenue sharing, just the different things. Look, the Big Ten expansion, the SEC expansion, what does college football look like in 2 to 3 years? And maybe some of the changes in the recent years that you feel has really kind of revolutionized the way that coaches and just fans have to view the sport?
Well, a Greek philosopher, I actually looked this up, coined the phrase, the only thing that's constant in life is change. College football has undergone more change in the last 2 years than this is my 46th year of covering college football, and I've never seen this much change. Obviously, the transfer portal, obviously NIL, all those things that have happened, and college football has got to adjust. The fact of the matter is you can look at the courts, you can see the direction that they're going, and they've got to do something about the transfer portal. I'm not sure what it is. The bigger issue is NIL and the fact that there are no guardrails. There's no organization. And there's a lot that's going to have to be done and will get done.
And we always appreciate the extra time we get to talk with our Impact interview guests. Make sure you go to NittanyGameWeek.com to see all of our conversations along with other web-exclusive content. Still to come, our Scrap Metal Award. It's almost like a Lifetime Achievement Award this week. He puts the words to the pictures for Penn State football and athletics. We honor a very versatile friend on the show. We're heading into the final minutes of Nittany Game Week.
Scrap Metal is sponsored by the We Are Inn, voted #1 game day restaurant in Center County. Follow us on Facebook and visit theweareinn.com or call for dinner or room reservations.
Well, Tommy joined us a few weeks ago for our Impact interview. This guy goes above and beyond for Penn State sports, so we go above and beyond with a different honor for our good friend, Steve Jones.
This is probably the most prestigious award he's ever won. I don't know what he gets for it, but Steve Jones wins the Scrap Metal Award for a lot of reasons. He has done so many things for Penn. He's not only been the voice of football, he's done basketball, every play-by-play, and I can tell you one thing about him. He always has time for you when you call and ask him, hey, can you help me with this?
Mr. Versatility, Jay, you're always hearing Steve's voice up there in State College radio, whether it's games, whatever it is, the guy is the consummate pro.
And teaches in the college communication, which I think is another part he's given to that next generation. And having had guys that I coached that were in his class, he gives them everything he's got.
Yeah, awesome. Well, congrats, Steve, the most prestigious award you've ever received. In addition to a television show, we're bringing Nittany Lions together with our depth chart at NittanyGameWeek.com. The purpose is to connect businesses that support the show with our viewers. Our goal is to build a team that keeps the hometown strong and to give you a reference for Penn State places when you eat, travel, and shop. And we've had a great time here in Season 3. One more to go next week. If you want to relive some of the episodes from this year or the previous seasons, make sure to check out NittanyGameWeek.com. While you are there, consume some of our web exclusive content. Final weekend of 2023. Santa suit last week, no tux this week for Jay, but the Nittany Lions, well, they'd love to close it out with win number 11. We close it out with you, our viewers, and our top pride picks of the season. The voting going strong.
A lot of voting going on.
All right, thousands of you out there getting it done. Thank you very much for that support. For Jay and Tom, I'm Todd. Thanks so much for watching Nittany Game Week. Have a safe and happy new year. We'll see you for the first weekend of 2024.